Salut French students! Welcome to video number 6 of Chapitre 1. So we have about 3 more videos to go before we have our Chapter 1 exam. So there are a total of 5 videos previous to this one. This one is number 6, and we should have 3 to 4 more before we have that first exam next week. So the first topic that I'll address in today's video would be les questions. And this is, of course, an easy one to recognize from our knowledge of English. We're going to be talking about one way of asking questions. Okay, so we have a couple of different ways to ask questions, as we can see here. Later on, you'll learn about how to ask other kinds of questions with other vocabulary. But for now, we're really just going to learn how to ask yes and no questions. We have these kinds of questions in English too. So you ask to get a yes or a no answer. And so this first way that we see to ask a question is just by using intonation. And so what we mean by that is just making your voice go up at the end to indicate that you're asking something. So right here, this first question is, Elle est mariée? And in English, we would ask, is she married? You might even reverse the word order and say, she's married. It kind of depends on I guess the context. You know, if you say, is she married? It's a general question, but if you were to say, she's married, you might sound surprised and you're asking a question at the same time. So word order plays a role there in the meaning in English. So in French, we do the same thing with intonation to indicate a question. Elle est mariée. Oh, elle, of course, being the pronoun for she. Et is the form of être that goes with elle. And mariée, notice that there's an extra E on the end of mariée to indicate that we're talking about a female subject, elle. Okay, so elle est mariée. And you would answer yes or no, right? Oui ou non. And the second question you see there, tu es d'ici? Oh, are you from here? Okay, again, in English, we'd do the same kind of thing. We'd say, are you from here? Or you're from here? Okay, so the meaning might be a little bit different depending on the word order. Okay, so we have tu, which would be you, et, the form of être that goes with tu, and d'ici, from here, or of here, literally. Okay, another way that you can ask a yes-no question is by using this expression, est-ce que. Notice there are some silent letters in here. The only thing you're really pronouncing, it seems like, is the E and the S at the beginning, right? The T-CE almost seems to melt into the background. So all you have to remember is that it is est-ce que, and you can stick this on the front of pretty much everything to form a yes-no question. So, est-ce que tes amis sont étudiants? Oh, are your friends students? So, tes amis sont étudiants by itself could be a statement. Your friends are students. When we put est-ce que on the front, we've automatically transformed this into a yes-no question. Est-ce que tes amis sont étudiants? Or est-ce qu'ils sont intellectuels? And notice this time with est-ce que that we've dropped the E from que. And the reason for that, of course, is that il begins with a vowel, que ends in a vowel, and there's no reason to have both of them there for pronunciation, so we form a contraction. Est-ce qu'ils sont intellectuels? Est-ce que Léa est mariée ou célibataire? So is Léa married or is she single, célibataire? And finally, est-ce qu'elle est étudiante? Is she a student? Okay, so those are 2 really pretty easy ways of asking questions, either with intonation or by adding est-ce que. All right, let's move on to our next slide. Okay, so another thing we can look at here with questions is what we call tag questions. And tag questions are basically just like a confirmation of what you're asking. You kind of know the answer already, but you just add this little tag question to the end for confirmation. So here we see, il est marié, n'est-ce pas? N'est-ce pas? So it just means right. So he's married, right? In English, we might also say, isn't he? That's another way that we use tag questions in English. So, il est marié, n'est-ce pas? Il est marié, non. Okay, so no is another way of doing it in French. You can add no to the end of your question for confirmation. And we wouldn't really do that in English, though. We wouldn't say he's married. No, doesn't sound quite right. But we would say isn't he in that case. Okay, so when you answer the question, like est-ce que tu es marié? Okay, then we can answer with either oui or non. Oui, je suis marié. Yes, I am married. Or non, je ne suis pas marié. I am not married. Okay, so questions are pretty simple in French, right? At least the yes-no questions are. We'll learn about more question types later on. Okay, so from here, we're going to look just at some simple vocabulary from le campus et le quartier. So you've seen these words before, right? Le campus, of course, is the university or college campus, and le quartier is the neighborhood, the quarter, in other words. Okay, qu'est-ce qu'il y a sur votre campus? And here we're getting a sneak peek at another way to form a question. We won't worry about this one too much right now because we're going to focus on yes-no questions. But que is a question word, meaning what, and it's another way to form a question. So notice that we stick that que right before est-ce que, and it just means what is there. Il y a is basically there is or there are. So what is there on your campus, sur votre campus? Okay, sur le campus, il y a, so on the campus there is. Il y a is one of the most useful expressions in all of the French language, just like there is and there are in English. Et il y a des salles de cours, so classrooms. In other words, rooms of courses, so places where you take courses or classes. Des salles de cours. And notice that when we use des in this form, it means some. So le, la, les mean the, but des means some. Okay, il y a des salles de cours. Il y a des bureaux, so your professors, if you're going to visit them in their office, they're going to be using un bureau, so there's offices. And then we have une bibliothèque avec Wi-Fi. Bibliothèque means library, and these can be kind of false friends right here. We have bibliothèque, and then we also have une librairie. Librairie is not the library where you go to check out books. It's the bookstore. And you can notice that by looking at the cash register that's at the bottom, because there you pay for your books. Where, of course, at the library you would borrow them. And the library is going to have Wi-Fi. The bookstore may not have that. I'm not sure if they do. I guess they probably do. Okay. A little bit of other vocabulary from the campus. Des résidences universitaires. So maybe some of you live in a dormitory on campus. So these are university or college residences, places where students live. Un restaurant. Okay, so we would call it the cafeteria. Or dining services maybe in our college campuses in the United States. But in France, they call it restaurant, or sometimes it's abbreviated and it's called resto U, which would mean like restaurant universitaire. So like the slang term would be resto U. Like I'm going to go to, je vais au resto U. I'm going to go to the cafeteria. Okay, many colleges have un stade. We have one here at Lander too. So a stadium. It's probably smaller than some other schools, but we do have one. Des matchs de football américain. And so match is the same thing in English and in French. It's just a match, a game that teams play. At Lander, of course, we do not have football américain, but we do have le foot, so soccer, right? And some of you in this class are probably even soccer players, as far as I know. So we have les matchs de foot here at Lander. Okay, and we also have une salle de gym. And I know we do have a fitness center here at Lander, so we definitely have that. Sur notre campus, on our campus, il y a une salle de gym. There is a workout room, a fitness center. And finally, our last set of vocabulary here would be dans le quartier universitaire Près de l'université, il y a. So it means in the college neighborhood or close to the university. Près de is close to. There is or there are, il y a des maisons. And around Landers campus, certainly, il y a des maisons. There are some houses. Il y a un joli parc des arbres. I think we already have that on our campus. We don't really have to go off our campus to find un joli parc. So a beautiful park or a pretty park with trees. Des arbres. Okay. Une boîte de nuit. Well, I don't know so much about the nightlife popular spots around Greenwood because I don't live in that area. I live in the Greenville area, but I'm sure there are some in Greenwood too. Une boîte de nuit, so a nightclub. Une boîte literally means box. So it's kind of like, I guess, another word for club. When you go into a nightclub, it's kind of like an open square building, maybe. I guess you could think of it that way. And it's a place we usually go at night, de nuit. And finally, un cinéma des films. So a movie theater, cinéma des films. Okay, so that wraps up our second week of studying Chapter 1, le chapitre 1, and we'll do 3 to 4 more videos for our final week before you take the exam for Chapter 1. So bonne chance avec tout, and good luck with everything, and we'll see each other soon.